What if I told you that child poverty was the result of marketing done well? I'm Rachel, I'm a public and social policy consultant, and I want what I know to be what you know. Now, public policy is a lot more than moving money around and deciding which government departments do what. Public policy is social psychology at scale, and policymakers know this and use social psychology to nudge us into thinking or behaving in particular ways. Now, I think we need to know what these tricks are, how they're played, what it does to us, and why it works. And to do that, we're going to look at the two child limit, one of the best examples of this kind of mind trickery at play. The two child limit is where in universal credit and child tax credits, we limit the amount of money that we pay to low income families for their third or subsequent children. Studies show around 60% of people think this is fair. But studies also tell us that about 90% of people think children should receive a free school meal. How can both things be true? Now, there are some major psychological principles at play here, things like social capital, moral distance, but today we're going to talk about the cash aversion effect. The two child limit is successful because it exploits the way that we feel about money, not about children. The way we feel about money is different to the way we feel about more abstract things like services. So we're actually pretty comfortable with spending public money on things like schools and education and social care, but not when it comes to things like direct cash transfers to other people. Cash is personal. It feels personal. Money is a personal thing. We all need it. We all want it. And we don't kind of like giving it to other people when we feel that they're getting it for nothing. So when money is given away, it triggers emotions like fairness and effort and sort of social reciprocity and the reciprocal nature of kind of give and take. But services feel more universal. The kind of shared infrastructure is for everyone, so it doesn't get the same level of moral scrutiny. Whereas money actually exploits feelings of trust and fairness. And this is sometimes called the exchange model of welfare. Now, policymakers use this deliberately, so we're able to cut things like direct cash transfers to people through welfare austerity, through cutting the welfare bill, without causing moral outrage. By cutting cash entitlements rather than public services, they can get away with increasing child poverty, and we all kind of think it's fair. Well, 60% of us do. Don't think we do? Let's test your sense of fairness with a thought experiment. So let's pretend that in the upcoming budget, instead of abolishing the two child limit, the government's actually going to double down on this policy. And from 2026, children who are third, fourth, fifth in succession in their families, they're actually no longer allowed to go to school. They won't be able to attend a public school. We're not going to allow them to see public GPs. They won't be able to see an NHS dentist. They won't be able to use things like roads, public parks, transportation infrastructure, nothing. Does this seem fair? Because whilst obviously this isn't what the two child limit is doing, withdrawing services feels inherently unfair, whereas not giving people money is feels kind of like really icky. We don't like it. It plays on our sense of trust. It plays on our innate sense of reciprocity. And the cash aversion effect knows this. It knows that we feel differently about money than we do about more abstract things like universal services. This is how the government can keep and entrench and put children into poverty, and we don't think it's unfair. We feel differently about money, and the people who came up with the two child limit absolutely know this. We need to understand policy better, and I think we need better policy. And one of the ways that we can do this is by learning around these psychological concepts that are baked into social policy. Policy isn't what it appears to be on the surface. There are massive ideological roots behind why we do these things. I'm going to do other videos about the two child limit. There is so much to unpack. But have a think about it. And when somebody tells you that they think the two child limit is fair, try this thought experiment. Should these children not go to school? Should they not have a GP? Should we not fix their teeth? Should we not do all of these other things? Because that's essentially what we're doing by withdrawing financial support, which is no different than NHS services, but we feel differently about it. We need better policy.